Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies weapons tier list. Starting off, we have the Colt upgraded into the, obviously, Mustang and Sally. Starting out with a pretty strong weapon, but I think it's a little bit dependent. The Colt itself is probably like D or C. If you don't have PhD, I would call Mustang and Sally like a B tier weapon. On maps that it does have PhD, I would, what is that? Like Black Ops, oh, this is Black Ops 2, right? I feel like in Black Ops 2, it mostly doesn't have PhD, so honestly, B? It's really good up until a point, but it's really easy to kill yourself with. I think B tier is fair. Next, we have the classic knife. Really good for points. Stops being effective after round 2. I won't go straight F because like it's, you know, infinite ammo. It does get you points at the early game, but obviously like it's a knife, so not good. People are saying this is a ballistic knife, and if it is a ballistic knife, I guess we would give it a C tier because it's just a stronger knife that can revive people, even though this is the multiplayer one. Now, the oldest debate in humanity, we have Olympia and M14. Olympia is obviously the worst of the two. I mean, listen, I love me a good Olympia is good meme. We had some good Twitter antics the other day, but I don't know, man. C tier? I feel like the Olympia is like a C tier weapon. Pack-a-punched, it's all right. It's actually all right. Non-pack-a-punched, not very good. But dude, pack-a-punch the Olympia, it's actually, it's okay. As far as the M14 goes, it serves a better purpose all around, but I don't think I would really rank it much higher. Like, I think I might, like that maybe? The M14 is good. High C, low B. B23R, I just feel like the B23R doesn't really serve much of a purpose, but it is better than the Olympia. The Remington, I honestly want to rank lower. Like, I hate the Remington. It's expensive. It serves no purpose whatsoever. And obviously, like, it is technically kind of better than the Olympia, but given its points, all things considered, its use case, I would say its use case is what's important. It's just not, it has not. Someone says Remington is a decoration for the wall. M8A1. Man, I really don't like this weapon. I would probably low B. Burst weapons are just not really good for zombies. Python, I would probably go like a low A. Like use case, good between, like good up to round 25 or 30. Pretty good for getting zombies out of your way when you're training. It's pretty strong overall. I think it's a good weapon. The KSG, the Slug Slinger, high B. Not quite as good as the Python, but very similar use. Gosh, you know, I think someone said I'm overrating all of these, and I kind of think they're right. Cause like we still got wonder weapons to deal with, which are so like, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna lower everything by 1 tier because considering we have wonder weapons, which are gonna be S, we can't have Python at A. MP40, dude, great use case weapon. Really good in the early rounds for points. It's kind of expensive, but it gets the job done. It's in a lot of locations on the wall. All things considered, practicality, it's a pretty good weapon. I would put it high B, which would have been A, but now we're, anyway. Ooh, okay, S12, I think, is a really underrated gun. Like, it's really good if you just spray it super hard to get zombies out of your way. Doesn't go super far. Like, I feel like a 25 is kind of a fall off, but it's really good for what it does in the rounds that it exists in. It's so hard to rank this. I don't know if I want to put it above the Python, but it's close. STG, pretty much just a better MP40 in every way, but it's a little more expensive and not in as good places. Really good for the Origins Easter egg, and that's the only map it exists on, so I would put it pretty high. Dude, Uzi is dirty. Uzi is really good. Like, that's a weapon I feel great with. It's got wall buys. It's all around the map of mob. Really powerful, great for points. I think really high B. I think it's a really good gun. Remington New Model Army is just a cooler Python, so boom. RPD, that's tough. Mobility bad, ammo great, damage great, points great. Pack-a-punch great, use case great. Kinda, yeah, I think a big LMG like that has gotta be our first A tier. Oh, okay, interesting, Chicom. Best mobility in the entire game. And I think that like, it's really bad besides that, but I don't think it's bad enough to put in F tier. So I am gonna put like high D. And it just runs out of ammo too quickly to be any higher. SVU, underrated weapon. Really good, really strong. You can snipe with it. It is missing an iron sight, but I think it deserves kind of like a B, I would say. Like right there. Barrett is just a really bad version of the SVU. Barrett to me is like a low C. It's good when you pack-a-punch it, I guess, but like there's just better options. Man, PDW is an easy A. Great ammo, good damage, wall weapon, mobility. Yeah, that's A energy right there. My one true love, the RPG. Honestly, I feel like the RPG is kind of better than Mustang and Sally's. Like, really on paper, it's probably not though, is it? It's got worse mobility, less ammo, it doesn't shoot as fast, but it's so fun, you know? So I'll put it right next to it. War Machine, terrible on Papped, and Papped, it's just not as good as the others. So we're gonna put it in the D tier. The weapon you've all been waiting for, the beautiful SMR. I would rather an SMR than a Remington. At least the SMR is gonna get me points when I do hit. Like, I genuinely hate the Remington that much. So I think upper F tier. MP5, just a really like all around solid point gun. Middle of B. Cat 40 is a worse version of the Chicom and probably worse than the B23R. The FAL is surprisingly underrated to the point where I would say it reminds me of the SVU. Ballista, really cool, really satisfying. One of the lesser snipers for sure. Not as good as the FAL, not as good as the SVU. I might just put these all together. M16, I kind of forgot that this exists. I think this is another like middle of B tier, honestly. Like it's okay, it does some damage. It's all right pack-a-punched, but it really doesn't stand out. Oh, chat. Easy S tier, 5.7, best weapon in all of COD Zombies. No, S5 is actually P tier. AK-74U, better than MP5, better than MP40. Better than STG. Type 25 is one of the lesser assault rifles. I'll put it between M16 and MP5. Oh, and now we have the beautiful, the lovely, one of my favorites, ladies and gentlemen. This is, woo, the DSR. I'm actually gonna put it as top so far of A. Highest damage for any regular gun in BO2. Iron sights make it pretty usable up till, I think, around 34 one-shot kill. It's a great weapon. Really fun to use. Nothing but good things to say about the DSR. LSAT, kind of subjective, but I would just say super similar to the RPD, except you can get it on the wall. Death Machine into the meat grinder. Absolute Chad weapon. Oh, dude. Like, it's so good. Here's the thing with Jet Gun. You can rank it here, or you can rank it here. There's a case for both. In my personal experience, it's more like down here. I don't go for high rounds. That's a super niche use case, but in almost pretty much every other use, it's not that it's really not that beneficial. That said, given the fact that Transit is a map where that ammo is hard to come by, I don't think it deserves F tier. Not even for like round 100s. There is a bit of a use case for it. It's a really slow weapon to kill zombies with, but you won't run out of ammo. And I would say that deserves, I'll give it C. Somewhere right in the middle. Everyone's gonna hate that ranking, but I get it. Oh, next we have our true tried and favorite ray gun, and this is a tough call. The ray gun used to be an S tier weapon. BO2, it wasn't terrible yet, but it was starting to fall off. You know, at the end of the day, it's super mobile, a lot of ammo, pretty good at killing zombies up to around 30. You can really spray hordes, I would say even up to 35, 40. It's still kind of effective. I know it's not like the S tier it once was, but I think it still deserves top of A. Like, you know, of any weapon on this list so far, besides, you know, the 5.7, I feel safest with a ray gun. Okay, so just to take a break and look at my ridiculous logical fallacies that have come up from, you know, not giving this too much thought. The biggest thing people are saying is KSG higher or S12 lower. Dude, I think people will sleep on the S12. It's pretty good. But yeah, maybe KSG higher. I will put KSG just before Python. I think that is a little bit more reasonable. But S12, bottom of B tier, it's not a bad weapon. Like, yes, S12 doesn't have a lot of ammo, but if you're just using it as a safety weapon, I think it's pretty good. Anyway, we are on to the MG08. I would say pretty subjective, but again, it's right up there with all the other LMGs. Ooh, Scorpion Evo. This breaks A tier. Yeah. Is it better than the PDW? Yeah, I kind of think I would feel more comfortable with a Scorpion. So, yeah. You know, the other thing I'm thinking is DSR is really good in a specific scenario, but overall use case, I think I'm a little high on that. Maybe that feels a little better. Ooh, okay, next up we have the M27. Probably my favorite assault rifle from this game. Better than the PDW, better than... Ooh, okay, definitely to the LMGs. It's got better mobility, decent amount of ammo. Do I put it above the LMGs? It's a weapon that's really good, but I do think it struggles with a bit of being overrated. This is really weird. It doesn't make sense. I feel like it's better than the RPD. I don't think it's better than the MG08, and I feel like it's tied with the LSAT. That's such a feel and subjective thing, but that's where I'm gonna put it. That's my personal feel. AK-47 is a good assault rifle, but it is gonna go bottom of A tier. A lot of hype for it, but overall feel, ammo, I just don't get like top of A tier vibes. Maybe even that. Nah, no, that's fine. Galil. Dang, I'm talking about how good the M27 is, but then you got the Galil. It's right there. And yet it feels better than the MG08. It feels better than the Meat Grinder. It doesn't feel better than the Meat Grinder. When you're sitting in a corner just laying out lead, it's pretty hard for anything to be better than the Meat Grinder. People are saying Galil's S. I don't think Galil is not an S tier weapon. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Is it better than the ray gun though? Points, yes. Mobility is all right. Ammo is great. I kind of think it's better, actually. I kind of think the Death Machine is better than the ray gun. I kind of like Galil Death Machine ray gun, I think. Yeah, it feels better. It feels better. AN94. Listen, people are gonna chastise me for this, but if the Galil is top of A, actually the AN94 is top of A. On paper, almost the exact same weapons, except it's a wall buy. I don't know why they made it a wall buy. It really unbalanced Black Ops 2 in the two maps that it's a wall buy, but man, AN94, dude. Chat is hating on the AN94. Ooh, Galil has 5 more rounds. But the thing with the AN94 is you can just always buy more. Like, it's the wall buy factor that makes it better. If the Galil would be better if the AN94 wasn't a wall buy. That's what I'll say. Also, just can we take a moment, like, BO2 had the best weapons, okay? You've got like the low tier stuff, but then you've got all these really high-end, exciting assault rifles, exciting SMGs. Haven't even got to the wonder weapons yet. MTAR, another pretty good assault rifle. I would say better than the AK, but it's not quite top tier of assault rifles. MTAR, actually, like if you go back and use the MTAR, it feels pretty good, but maybe A is not fair. I don't want this to just become a generic list, but like, yeah, that's a good point. I kind of think I'd like an Uzi more, you know? Here's what I want to do. I want to move the Uzi up a little bit. I kind of like the Uzi a lot. As a matter of fact, it's a safe weapon. MTAR top of B, Uzi up to A. Hammer, I like more than the RPD and less than the LSAT. That's where that goes. M1216, you S12 haters, you cannot hate on the M1216. It is a solid weapon. Easy top of B. I might sneak this up into the bottom of A. It's one of the few weapons that is really good for clearing zombies out of your way. That's its use case, but like rounds 5 through to 30, it's an amazing training weapon, and I really think it's great for just being safe. No ammo, but a lot of damage. People are talking about the hammer like it's really good. Pre-patch hammer, like OG transit hammer, top of A. But like the recoil on that thing, I don't know. M1216, does it deserve to be with these weapons? No, I think you're right. B tier. Executioner, best shotgun in the game. Great mobility, one-shot kill up to like 33-ish. Executioner, you shotgun haters, this thing deserves A tier. I will fight you. It's gonna go next to the Uzi. I'm gonna bump Uzi up again because Uzi is better than the AK. It's a really practical gun to use. It's really good. A tier. So Tommy gun is a tough pick. I think the Tommy gun is overrated. Give yourself like a really hard situation to be in. I think that the best place you'll see this is the Tommy gun on Origins. You run the Tommy gun on Mob, and Mob is a tough map, but you get a really OP weapon, the Vitrolic Withering. You're running Tommy gun in the early rounds. It's really good for points. It does pretty good damage, and I think that leads people to believe like the Tommy gun is one of the best guns in zombies. It's got good ammo, but if you run that gun over to Origins and start using that in scenarios that you're used to using, like the MP40, the STG, or like something really good like the Scar or Scorpion, you just realize like the Tommy gun is not that good. Like against the Panzer, you feel like you kind of have a pea shooter in BO2. Really good for points, like the best point gun. I don't think it's as good as people claim. I will still, bottom A? Not even bottom A. Great for points. I'm gonna put it like right next to the MP40 and STG. Now we have the Scar, which actually on paper is the best assault rifle in BO2. Man, the Scar feels good. Killing a Panzer with the Scar, it's like you are laying down some lead. It feels hot, it feels clean. I personally like the Scar more than the AN94. I like it more than the Galil. I do like it more than the M27 as well, even though they're very similar. I think the Scar is top of A. Chat seems to be agreeing with me. Like, even though AN94 is a wall buy, Scar is that good. Like, my man Jason Blundell was like, oh, that's cool, Jimmy Z, like sick AN94, but I'm just gonna actually make the best assault rifle in all of zombies, and it is the Scar. And now we are into the fun stuff, the wonder weapons. We've done the jet gun, we've done the ray gun. Die Rise comes next, so that'll be the Sliquifier. Sliquifier is mobile. It's got pretty decent ammo. It's a one-shot kill up until like round 101. Yeah, this is why I needed to bump everything down, because the Sliquifier is an easy S. Next, we're going to Mob of the Dead, and we have the Sweeper, which is an interesting weapon. I don't think the Sweeper actually deserves S tier. It's definitely A. It's better than the Executioner, so that's easy. Sweeper's really good. It's got surprisingly long range. It kills forever. Decent ammo. Really effective with like Electric Cherry, Speed Cola combo. I would put it above all of this. Above the ray gun? Yes, I would. I don't know if I'm gonna put it above the top assault rifles in Meat Grinder. Obvious thing about the Vitrolic Withering is that it is in the S tier. Really no question about it. Sliquifier is the near perfect high round weapon. Vitrolic Withering is not as good for high rounds, but it's like the ultimate safety weapon. Again, you need the combo, but the combo is very easily attainable, like Electric Cherry, Speed Cola, this thing, double tap, jug, shield. It is like almost the invincible combo when you have this thing, and it's because of this weapon. I think the Sliquifier is truly that good that I'm gonna put it above the Vitrolic Withering. Considering like it just never stops being good, it's kind of hard to rank any lower. Sliquifier would be cracked on Mob of the Dead. Die Rise would be harder without the Sliquifier and with the Vitrolic Withering. So that's your answer. Paralyzer. This is a tricky one for me because I don't really like it, but I don't know. So infinite ammo makes it good. There is the whole camp on the bank, use Vulture Aid. It's pretty effective. Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to make it to pretty high rounds with this thing. I think there's a lot of situations where you could probably find ways to use it on other maps. I don't know if it deserves S because it's just like, it's not like the safest weapon, and that is a big factor for wonder weapons, but I think top of A. Next up, we have Ooh, the Ray Gun Mark II. Ray Gun Mark II is an extremely safe weapon to use. I'll just say it's better than the Ray Gun for sure. I think it's a one-shot kill to like round 700. It's better than all these things. It's mobile. It doesn't have the most ammo, but it's just so good at killing. It's so good at keeping you safe. Good for high rounds. I want to say bottom of S tier. It's a really good weapon. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have our 5 Origins weapons. We'll start with the Zoom Hilda. I want to say S tier. It's got mobility. It's got the addition of just like helping you actually go faster, like in that sense of mobility, speed, I guess. I mean, yeah, I kind of want to put it in the P tier, but memes aside, highly available weapon, right? Definitely S. That's where it ranks, but chat wants it, and I think it also deserves the privilege of P tier. Now we got 4 staffs. Should we start with Wind? I feel like Wind is my least favorite. Wind staff falls off super hard. Its spinning thing is still really effective. Better than the Mark II, not as good as Vitrolic Withering. This is where it gets hard. We're gonna just bring these all of these up. Lightning is the safest of the 3, but its charge is the worst. Ice is extremely dangerous to run, but its charge is like the best thing on the entire map. Fire sits in a not actually too awkward middle. Like, it's pretty quick to kill. Its charge is all right. I love running the lightning on early rounds, and I like the ice staff on later rounds, and I like the fire staff most rounds. Well, I'll tell you, 90% of people are gonna go down with the ice staff, not the lightning. So I would kind of say, like, most use, fire is the best because it's just kind of the all-rounder staff. Fire is the most balanced, right? And that's why it's effective. Ice is kind of like really, really, really good, but only if you know how to use it. So I don't want to say it is the best because of that. Ice is infinite damage, requires high skill. So the use case is not that high, but I mean, it is still not like the hardest thing to just like sit by Speed Cola, by Gen 3 and just like spam it down. So, I mean, you know, there is a lot of use cases for noobs. Really easy to die with that. I love the lightning. It's the staff I personally feel the safest with, like in the first 30 rounds, which is most of the time you're playing Origins. But the fire is almost as good enough, and it's also good for the later rounds. How would Mob of the Dead play with the fire staff? I'm gonna say Mob of the Dead would be easier with the fire staff. How would Mob of the Dead play with an ice staff? Man, you could crush Mob with an ice staff, but it would also be really dangerous. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play Mob with an ice staff, or a wind staff really. Lightning would be great in the early rounds, but not as effective as fire. Other way around, Vitrolic Withering on Origins. Fire staff would be better. Man, I think the ice staff would still play better on Origins. Vitrolic Withering on Origins would be pretty sick. Yeah, I kind of think Ice outshines Vitrolic Withering somehow. Like, Vitrolic Withering is so good, but so is Ice. Now it's just Lightning. And these feel pretty close to me. Like, I think one way or another, it's kind of a fair ranking. Vitrolic Withering is better than Windstaff. I will die on that hill. Dude, I would say Lightning over Vitrolic Withering as well. So there you have it. Actually, 2 quick changes. SVU deserves bottom of A, and RPG also P tier. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you later.